they are our enemy. They've chosen it. They've declared it. We got government, mainstream news, Chinese communist documents. They're trying to fund Antifa and uprisings. I mean, this is the war against America. And like you said, you try to speak to them as humans, they just disregard that and use it as weakness. But they do listen to your fist smashing into their face.
Yeah, yes, they do. It seems to amp them up on social networking more than anything. In person, they aren't very much of a threat. So, you know, that's why we keep encouraging more patriots to come out there, because it's so effective when they show up in numbers. And that's all that really needs to happen. So, you know, the more people we can get out there.
I just love how you giant roundhouse right hook and then shove him down so his head hits the pavement. That probably hurt him worse. God, I love it. I got to tell you, it's just it's better than a fake Rocky movie. I mean, I'm sorry, he's a scumbag, man, trying to kill you with a baton, and he's a piece of crap, and it's beautiful. I love the control by Rufio Panman as the guy's trying to hit him with an extendable metal baton that can break arms, put out eyes, when he smashes that little meth head. The guy's not a small guy, but little communist face in. And then the globalist minion woman tries to get him to hit her, and he instantly doesn't smash her in her ugly face. So Rufio was on the battleground in Portland participating in a Patriot prayer march when he was confronted by a baton-wielding Antifa. Antifa swung at him twice. Rufio blocked the shots and then brought the Antifa warrior to the ground with one right-hand punch. And then all the rest ran. And it's repeated. I've seen videos of women taking on guys and taking them down. And it's just the fact that these guys are all in their head. They didn't grow up in America. Most of them are rich kids. They just hate America, and they're just scum. So, Rufio, we salute you. Everybody loves you. That's what it's all about. It's so exciting. But again, every time these people run, but he did have a deadly weapon. He was trying to, swat you. It would have obviously split you open if he hit you with it. But just describing, because again, cameras only catch so much. I spent hours looking at what happened. The police guiding you guys into them, letting them come. The police standing down. What precipitated you coming out? Because I know you guys saw before how they attacked men, women, and children. No one was there. This is just an incredible archetypal Americana, or just good versus evil story. So we salute you. You're now a folk hero and obviously an Antifa scumbag target. On Facebook, you're at Rufio Panman PB. Instagram, Rufio_Panman. So God bless you. Tell us all about just your awakening. What happened to all of this?
Well, I've been doing this for a little over a year now. Been to many rallies up and down the West Coast, from Seattle to Berkeley. So, facing Antifa isn't unfamiliar to me. But the Portland rally last weekend was obviously probably one of the most violent I've seen. And it's, as far as the police standing down, none of that should have happened. If that would have happened in Seattle, it would have been a whole different story. The police are a lot better there. So, I was genuinely worried for the people around me and their safety. And this is a continual problem we're having. And like you said, this is at least a very soft civil war right now. And if people don't start to kind of wake up to what's going on, it's going to progress into something worse.
So talk about your awakening, who you are. It's interesting to folks, and just what you've seen, because cameras don't capture it. Just because I've been around Antifa myself back when I learned who they were 15 years ago, when they would attack myself and reporters just covering stuff, and they're just the scum of the earth. But just describe your awakening, what you've witnessed. I know people were mad and came out because earlier this year they had an event in Portland where women and children were attacked when no one was there to fight back. So just break that down.
Well, I mean, I went into this originally pretty passive. I wanted to try and debate with them. I wanted to try and see eye to eye. Every time I go out there, I'm trying to find some middle ground with these people. And like you said, women, children, teenagers, elderly, they're all right there just trying to support their country. And, it's really hard to see. So, when you see that on a consistent basis getting worse and worse, you start to kind of develop this feeling that these are no longer people who are necessarily Americans per se, but they're kind of anti-American. And then, you know, you kind of have to separate yourself from them.
You're saying they're the enemy. They are our enemy. They've chosen it. They've declared it. We got government, mainstream news, Chinese communist documents. They're trying to fund Antifa and uprisings. I mean, this is the war against America. And like you said, you try to speak to them as humans. They just disregard that and use it as weakness. But they do listen to your fist smashing into their face.
Yeah, yes, they do. It seems to amp them up on social networking more than anything. In person, they aren't very much of a threat. So, you know, that's why we keep encouraging more patriots to come out there, because it's so effective when they show up in numbers. And that's all that really needs to happen. So, you know, the more people we can get out there.
I just love how you giant roundhouse right hook and then shove him down so his head hits the pavement. That probably hurt him worse. God, I love it. I got to tell you, it's just it's better than a fake Rocky movie. I mean, I'm sorry, he's a scumbag, man, trying to kill you with a baton, and he's a piece of crap, and it's beautiful the way you. I don't think he did too well either.
I appreciate that, Alex. Yeah.
But be honest, like I don't like hurting innocent people or weak people, but a few times in my life when some bully's trying to kill me and they're bigger than I am, when I finally see their head hit the pavement, it felt good. How good did it feel, at least later, once you saw his head hit the pavement?
Well, like Gavin McInnes says, you know, violence isn't great, but justified violence is amazing. You know, it's just one of those things where you just react instinctively, and you know, when you can kind of overpower in that moment, it does feel good. It is a positive feeling. I can tell you that in that situation, there wasn't a whole lot of celebration going on. I was more worried about the safety of the people around.
Oh, I would have smacked that. I mean, I don't want to hit women. I never have. But in the moment, somebody trying to kill me with a metal baton, and I just did that. And there's a pretty big woman coming at me. She looks like 6'3" or something. I mean, you were like you were in the zone, man. You're like, it's like a video game. It's like, this is like movies. Wish that it was like, boom, you do all, and all of a sudden you just like didn't know that you like didn't hit her.
Yeah, well, you know, she was pressing on me, and I told her, hey, you better get back, because this is not playing around. And so I gave her the opportunity, and she took it. You know. Well,
I noticed that trying to get into Trump's inauguration, they had lines of women hitting us, hoping that we would hit them back. We just pushed through them, but to get into Trump's deal, you had to push. The first thing was women. Talk about cowards, like the Islamicists, and then it was a couple of dudes. But we had to ram through women to get into to get into Trump's inauguration. So it seems they put women out front.
They do. That's their tactic. They put the women in front, and then the little sleaze bags will hang out in the back with batons and stuff and try and get a hit on you from behind the women. And they're
like comic book scumbags, like you said. Like, how could you be so scummy as a man that you put women up front?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even they have no fighting etiquette either. There's no moral foundation for them. They were throwing explosives into a crowd of people. There could have easily been a baby stroller nearby. There's no thought process into what they're doing. And so on that level, you know, you can't really have any sympathy for after they do things like that. You just have to eliminate them as a threat. And that's what we were doing. Proud Boys did an amazing job. I can't imagine what would have happened if we weren't there. You know,
Proud Boys is Gavin McInnes' group, which is just proud to be male, proud of masculinity, because they teach on universities, for those that don't know, that masculinity doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's actually toxic, Alex. You know, it's toxic to be masculine these days. And it hurts the people around you if you're too masculine, I guess. They're teaching this all over the place, and it's and
they try to teach women, don't be feminine, which is powerful, don't be masculine, which that's the power. We should all be ascribing to that, but they want to kill that.
Right. And they are.
We're going to go to break in a minute, but I want you to have the floor, because it's great. Get more into your awakening just briefly. Like where'd you come from? What stirred you?
Well, I've born and raised in Washington. You know, I have a very good family. Been pretty productive all my life. I've always loved my country. You know, I got involved in the movement originally last May Day because I was just tired of what I was seeing. And I went out to Seattle with one of my boys, not knowing anything about the movement. And that's where I was introduced to the Proud Boys, who, allowed me to network with like-minded men, and it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. And since then, there's been a lot of, I guess you'd call, awakening to what's really going on, desensitizing myself, getting out of that political correctness state of mind.
That's right, breaking free. We'll be back to talk more on the other side. History's happening. Traitors in our own country have sold us out to the globalists, but in the final minutes, America woke up. Our guests will be with us throughout the hour. We're going to open the phones up specifically to talk to Rufio Panman, who, again, he uses that name, obviously, because they'll target his family and others. This is what Antifa does, doxing everybody, sabotaging your houses. They're just the nastiest, mainly college professor, little criminals you can imagine. But we're going to open the phones up in the next segment, 877-789-2539. 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-ALEX. Questions only for our guest. What a wide area to discuss. So, Rufio, obviously not giving Antifa power, but it's smart to not use your own God-given name, because they'll come after you. It's what they do as cowards. They sneak up on you, so it's a good strategic thing not to do that. But they're going to target you now, obviously, because you're becoming a big archetype symbol against their cowardice. Talk about that, and then talk about, because I saw the other videos, they ran once one person fought them, and they do that everywhere. And then I've seen the videos at anti-abortion rallies or pro-gun rallies. Antifa will, like, attack an old guy in a wheelchair or a woman on crutches, or they'll hit they go and target a woman. And for me, I'm not the toughest guy in the world, but women don't even register who I'm going to attack. I look for, like, the biggest guy and, like, start wanting to fight him if it's a fight. Just as a male, that's what I would do. Like, who's the biggest? If I'm in a tribal fight, I got to take them down. They look for the weakest. I don't even... That shows how we're blind to them, because I don't even understand the psychology of attacking 2-year-olds and babies in baby carriages. They're the anti-chivalry. They're the anti-male. Who the hell are these creatures? I don't want to call them men. Who are they?
Well, I would, the way I would explain them is any victory to them, even the smallest little assault on the opposing side, doesn't matter if it's a child, a teenager, an elderly person in a wheelchair, they take that and they'll go celebrate. That's a victory to them, because they know that they can't face real strength. So it's all a LARPing thing, in my opinion. It's these people who've probably been playing video games their whole life and been in this state of mind like there's some fantasy warrior in real life that they've never trained or even thought about what that's really like. So when they're facing, veterans and, ex-police officers and guys who have been fighting and MMA fighters, it's just, it's funny to say the least, but the real threat is when they're throwing bricks and rocks and explosives and bringing weapons, and we're completely disarmed by the police, so we're at a disadvantage, but not at the same time.
Yeah, break that down, because we have even George Soros documents we've covered where they have blue city areas. You guys are willing to go in to exercise the First Amendment, which is heroic. They're throwing mortars that can blow your hand off. They're throwing bricks, and you guys all get searched. You get let in. Then they let them come in. They've always got the weapons. I mean, again, it just shows the cowardice of Soros, who funds this, and all of it, and still they're defeated.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't think that they're funded. They think it's just, just people coming out to support. But you have to remember, all of these people, they're wearing matching uniforms. They're all coming with weapons that aren't, cheap. Some of these weapons are pretty expensive. And you know that Antifa, a lot of them, they don't have any prominent jobs or anything. You can just tell. And so they're getting that from somewhere. So people need to realize that. I can't specifically say who it is. George Soros is, obviously that's a huge lead right there.
Oh, but he's on record. He's on record funding a lot of it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But as you can see, a lot of the weapons that have been taken from Antifa, you get knives, swords, just the craziest things. Magazines were taken from the last rally, several magazines with pistol ammunition. Yeah, and they'll check us, they'll check our bags. I mean, we can't even bring pepper spray in. Our women can't even carry pepper spray. And so, that's where Proud Boys come in. We come in with protective vests and eyewear, and that's about all we can do. and we come in and just charge them and just hope for the best. Obviously, this is something that we're pretty acclimated to. So, you know, I got to keep giving honor to my boys because I truly believe we've saved lives that day.
Oh, you have. And it's extremely heroic in a system of cowards to know the police in a blue city and the system wants to make an example of you, and you still, like the Lion's Den, march in there and then turn the tide against them. When one person fights, they all run. It shows the hoax of evil. The devil goes around like a lion, seeing who he can devour, who will fall down and grovel, who will roll over.
Yep. Yeah, great men need to keep standing strong. This nation was built by great men, and you know, the mayor of Portland and the city council of Portland, they think that they can get away with siding with these criminals, and I think slowly but surely we're starting to expose this more and more. And you know, I don't believe that all these police officers want to stand down. You know, I'm talking to some of them, and I'm seeing their faces. You know, when you join the police force or the military, you know, you have a sense, something about you that you want to protect your country, and these guys aren't able to do that. I don't know if all of them are on the same page, but you can tell that they definitely want to be more involved than they're allowed to be. They're being ordered to stand down, and it's pathetic to say the least. The kind of, I mean, if this was a private sector, if we hired somebody to protect us, they would have failed miserably. They would have been fired. So the fact that they couldn't even, you know, they couldn't even follow through with what they promised us after they disarmed us. They promised us that they would protect us against Antifa and didn't even try in the slightest.
At a gut level, where do you see this going? The whole launch of the liberal civil war, what's happening, the leftists going into this crazed mode. At a gut level, where do you think this is going?
You know, I'm hoping from the optics of the last Poland rally that we can influence other people and wake people up. If we can't, you know, do that, we have people on the opposing side, senators and politicians and city council people, mayors, everybody who's advocating for violence. Maxine Waters, that clip that keeps playing, that she's calling for violence against Trump supporters. And Trump supporters make up a great amount of people in this nation. So, you know, that's a huge divide of people that she's actively calling out for violence. And what we're seeing is on the streets is a side effect of that. And people are showing up. There was at least 1,000 Antifa, and not even accounting just crazy liberals and everybody else who was along the ride. Antifa alone. And so, you know,
that's a great question. What were your numbers versus the crazy liberals? I mean, guesstimation. What were the numbers?
I think we had a couple hundred ourselves, and that was the whole rally. Proud Boys, I think we had over 100, which was the biggest turnout we've ever had at a rally for Proud Boys.
So a couple hundred people stood against 1,000 communists and everything else, and history repeats. When we come back, we're going to talk about where the globalists want to take this and how we stop it. Straight ahead in your phone call. Stay with us. Imagine you're on the George Soros-funded Antifa side, funded by communist China, the big banks. Want to bring down America, you'll teach these people, you'll break their will. America doesn't deserve half the wealth of the planet in 1955. We're going to take it and parlay it into power. And so you're going to go out, you're going to dump coffee on Trump supporters, you're going to beat them up, you're going to threaten them, you're going to not give them jobs, you're going to teach them to submit. And then you go out and you beat up a month ago people at a conservative rally and overturn baby carriages and beat women up. That's on the news. And Antifa, like, beating women up. Like, yeah, I knocked a woman out. Yeah. My God, I commit suicide if I did that. And then finally you show up again and like maybe 20, 30 men show up. And there's 1,000 of you, but only a few dozen are willing to go up and fight. And then men beat your ass. And so you all run. They don't give up, though, going, God, we're pieces of crap. We're filth. No, they get more angry. So that's the historic crossroads we're at. and the type of scum that has been allowed to run free in this country, it just makes me ask, what comes next? Because you go out to these rallies, and they'll be wearing $500 jackets and $200 shoes, and they'll be, you know, on a smartphone more expensive than mine. You know, mine's like $300, versus $1,000. And I've followed them. I've got video, like, you're getting a $100,000 Jaguar. I'm driving an F-150, but they're communists, but they drive around in Jaguars. And like our guest just said, that was really smart. It's LARPing. It's live action playing. So let me ask Rufio Panman, if you just joined us, to not just answer my questions. He's a gentleman. I've been steering the conversation. We'll take some calls in a minute. What do you want to say most? What do you want to impart about what you witnessed first, though? Answer my question on this, because I know those metal batons are dangerous. This guy's swinging that at you. He's trying to kill you with it. What was it like in that moment, and then how did it feel when you broke his jaw and then shoved him down to hit his head in the pavement, and were still in control not to hit that woman? I mean, what was the energy like at that moment when you saw them attacking people and no one was standing up to go in and do that?
Well, it felt pretty good to, you know, you lose that fear, and everything is kind of, since, you know, if you love your country and you see people attacking your countrymen and imposing an ideology that would, in the long run, tear your country apart, you know, there isn't a thought process. It's just instinctual. You're just going to go and you're going to take those people out. Obviously, we're not going and advocating to just fight people just because they have a different ideology. But like you see, you know, I'm being attacked with a deadly weapon, and many of our people were being attacked with weapons. So that's what I mean by go and fight those people and eliminate the threat. And you know, it was a victorious day for us. We celebrated like Vikings that night, and you know, it was probably one of the best days we've had in over a year.
Describe some of the other stuff you've seen on the West Coast, because you've been all over in these fights. What Antifa does, the little dastardly activities.
Yeah, I was at Evergreen College. I've been to Berkeley, been to Portland many times, Seattle, and from college campuses, you get the students, and they won't even talk to you. They don't want to debate. They don't want to, you know, they just want to yell and scream and claim victimhood mentality over you. And you know, obviously being a white guy and being a Proud Boy, you know, I lose all my credibility to people like that, even though I'm, you know, very involved with what's going on firsthand, and nobody wants to talk or hear my perspective. So when you start to eliminate conversation and debate, and all you want to do is fight, then that's what you're going to get. That's just how the world works. You know, if conflict all over the world, things like that happen, when you're unable to communicate with each other and all you want to do is argue and fight, that's when war breaks out.
Wow, that's very profound. Exactly. So they lose physically everywhere they take the field. Don't they get them their argument's a loser, that in the third dimension we always win? I mean, don't they get, like, if one of you can beat 20 of them, shouldn't they go, oh, we should emulate you, Rufio Panman, not Saul Alinsky, the devil worshiper?
Well, I think that's why they use such extreme tactics. You know, they throw bombs and stuff, and I think they're hoping to scare us. They're doxing, they're threatening our jobs.
You just said it. They think we're like them. They keep thinking they're scaring us. All they're doing is pissing us off. So let me ask you that. Where does it go then?
Yeah.
Where does it? Because they think we're like them. Like, do you think we're scaring us? No, you're not doing that. We're spending every waking moment. How do we crush you? Discuss that. That's key.
I mean, a lot of us have gotten really, really angry. Our stuff has been vandalized. Our jobs have been targeted. Some guys have lost their jobs. So, you know, when we stop having things to lose, when they eliminate, you know, the things that in our personal lives that we're trying to protect, then that doesn't, you know, it kind of eliminates our limitation, and it's making them weaker in a sense. If that makes any sense. It's making us stronger and more willing to combat them as they target us more.
Well, no, that's what you just said, the key to it all. They think attacking us makes us weak, because that's how they would back off from that. They don't understand, like, that's what makes us wake up.
Right. In a sense, though, it is for a lot of people who aren't really woken up and who are still kind of in that politically correct mind, even though they might be a patriot to a sense, that sense of fear does hold a lot of people back. They don't want to be acknowledged on the internet or public information put out there. They don't want to be targeted,
but they're already being targeted. You have to embrace it now.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people, that's the thing, is a lot of people don't realize they are already a target, and we're trying to create awareness. It's like, look, if you love your country in any way, if you want to fly an American flag, you're a target. You know, and if things are the way they are now, imagine how they're going to be if you have kids and they're in, 10 years down the road.
Exactly. Our free will is under attack. Like, we let them have their free will. They don't want us to have free will. They want control of our destiny, our souls. And I say death before dishonor, death before disgrace, victory or death, like Colonel Travis.
Right. Exactly.
Plus, how could we let a bunch of cowardly scum like this tell us what to do? How do we ever get in this position, Rufio? How we ever get here?
I think we got too comfortable for a long time. I think people, when you live a comfortable life like we have as Americans for so long without any conflict other than 9/11, people during the Obama administration got really comfortable. And I think, I can personally say that I lost hope in the political system. And when Trump got elected, that hope was renewed. I've never celebrated more. I didn't think that he was going to win, honestly. And when he did, I was overjoyed. So
it's spiritual. You felt hope reignited.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to come back and take a few calls. We got a minute and a half, though. What else is on your mind? Your own words, not my questions. What else is at the heart of standing up against evil? What else is your view on what's going to happen?
Well, I think men need to be willing to stand up. More men need to be willing to stand up. And that's kind of my mission, is to empower men in the community, young and old, all races. Doesn't matter your sexual orientation. I don't care. Stand up for your country, because, this country is the reason why you can be any race, any sexual orientation, doesn't matter, and live a free life. And so, with that in mind, I would love people to just, even in the smallest way, stand up and do what's right.
That's a great point. I understand that. Everything you say is like spot on. Like, this is the country that says there's all this freedom, and then they use that against us like we've been bad to people compared to other countries. Like, no, we're the fount of the freedom. Yeah. Don't blow that up. And it's the fake liberals, that are the authoritarians that want the control of that power. They would kill that power. They would kill that freedom.
Exactly.
We'll be back with your phone calls for 2 more segments with Rufio Panman. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, Newswars.com. He's at Rufio Panman, PB, on Facebook and Instagram at Rufio_Panman. The global revolution against dehumanization is happening now. Stay with us.
Someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
He goes to jail. He goes to jail. Lock him up.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This 4th of July is special. Everybody can see it. They can feel it. The globalists are attempting to kill a worldwide awakening to their tyranny. And America, yet again, is at the heart of the resistance to the globalist. That's why this 4th of July, I'm asking all of our great supporters to think about InfoWars now more than ever. And what would the world be like if InfoWars wasn't there resisting the globalist? What would have happened if you hadn't supported InfoWars? We would not be having the victories we have today. So yes, a lot of good things are happening, but the enemy is striking back. So please, think about InfoWars and funding our operation while you get great products at the same time on this 4th of July that's so historic. We have record sales going on right now, free shipping on hundreds of different items. More than 20 items are 50% off, like Brain Force Plus, X2 is 40% off, Knockout Sleep Aid, $17.76, Silver Bullets, $9.95 colloidal silver, and free shipping. You can't beat that. This 4th of July is special, and our sales are special to match it. InfoWarsStore.com.